I thought it was a really hard-fought game. I thought both teams played with really good effort. How difficult it is at a service academy to play in a conference. And, just week in, week out for everything that's demanded of cadets or officer candidates. But we came out, I thought we played hard. We really did.
Offensively, to be able to run the fullback, I think 10 times out of 12 plays on that first possession, how important was that? And then unlocking everything else? In the first half?
Really, I'm not sure last week what we really tried so hard to go to the perimeter early. We learned from that. We realized the necessity to make sure that you still are going forward, and we did a better job of that.
How much do the penalties concern you?
I do, but I'm going to let somebody else overreact to that. We're usually pretty good that way. But I'd never, ever, if there's a story that needs to be had, it's a competitive industry, so that helps do it.
Absolutely. Were you surprised, happy with both Burke and Michelle, the way they ran the
No,
football?
it was good, to get those guys both involved. I mean, they had some carries tonight, and usually when those guys have carries that go forward, then there's probably some good things happening up front. And those guys up front played pretty solid football.
Obviously, the turnovers were huge, but were there other keys to limiting their offense in ways that the last 2 years you hadn't been able to do as effectively?
That's, fair question, because we had not the 2 previous years. It's just, I'm not saying it's impossible. You just look, when you're at a service academy and you're playing all these teams with a massive roster change and the whole bit, and for all the other things that you have to do as a cadet just to be competitive. I think you realize how fortunate you are to have a game that went that way, and we were competitive.
How critical was the pass rush, and not only when they got home, but flushing out of the pocket, getting close?
I'll tell you one thing I think we did maybe a little too much at times. Maybe we tried to run a few too many twists or games rather than letting the guys widen out a little bit and go, especially in some of those D&D situations.
Can you be happy at all? You got the first conference win of the year?
Yeah, golly. It doesn't, like I said, I don't know how often an academy, really, to be real, you start out 1-0 in conference play. I don't have it in front of me. I don't know if it's been a year or two or longer than that, so it's never bad.
It seemed like you would think coming into a game like this with a prolific offense like Utah State had and scoring 78 points last week that, time of possession would be key. Yeah, the stats are kind of skewed there because in the second half they kind of held the ball a lot. But is that what your thoughts were going in, and did you feel you did what you needed to do?
Yeah, Brian, it wasn't our intent to say, all right, here's a stat that we're trying to tip the scale a little bit. We did want to be better on third down. And like I said, just to be able to get the ball going forward. And I thought being able to hit a couple of key throws was important too. The long throw down to Rosnos. Certainly the play, Dane made a heck of a play on the slider. I think that was like 3rd and 5. That was a key play at that point in the game.
Utah State was 3 of 11 on third down. C.J. Boyd had 3 of those plays, or was part of 3 of those plays. How important has he been in filling a void that was created and then helping to maintain?
Yeah, it's either a void or an opportunity. Probably his viewpoint is that it's a possibility and an opportunity. He'll get better. Just all of our guys. It's so new. It still is for us. If we're, if you're ever going to have a chance to be competitive in some games going forward, we got to grow. We got to get better. But the key part is there's the will, there's the drive for guys to want to develop. Like, it'll be hard for us next week. That's, it's just, golly, it's just matchup-wise. It's going to be extremely difficult.
The position he's playing, often requires a lot of versatility. What was in his background that kind of led you to believe he can?
A really good athlete, very bright. And I don't mean that just intellectually in terms of what he does academically, but just football comes naturally for him. The other part is he's a strong communicator, which at that position, there's some traffic that you do have to direct to a degree. You have to be able to identify formations. There are 2 stand-ups, 3 stand-ups with some of the calls that we make based upon formation checks, and he handles that well.
You had 3 plays on third downs tonight. I think they went 3 of 11 on third down, 3 of those you had a hand in. How important was that in getting them off the field and for you to kind of really get your feet wet in a Mountain West game?
First off, I just want to thank God for the opportunity, just to give me the ability to go out there and play football. I want to thank Camby. He taught me so much. It was hard seeing him go down, but, I think he prepared me to be in the position to go out there and make those plays. And I also want to thank my coaches for, trusting in me. We had a lot of people who weren't able to stay with us during the off season, but, I was able to be one of those ones and stick it out. But, just to have a hand in everything, it was just, it was important. I just had to do my job and make the plays that I needed to in order to get our team off the field.
And just knowing the way the last couple of years have gone against this team, how encouraging was it in that first half to see the results you guys were able to produce?
It felt awesome. There was an article that said that they were our kryptonite, and that just fueled us even more. And so we were able to come out there, punch them in the mouth and do what we needed to do.
That being said, were you expecting them to come back? It looked like this game was going to be a runaway. Were you expecting them to come back?
It's college football. They're going to score. Their players are on scholarship as well, so they're going to make plays as well. You just have to do what you need to do and continue to play football.
So overall, how would your impression of the defense tonight?
We played ball. The second quarter or second half, we started to get away from what we were doing in the first half, but then we started to reel it in at the end.
And you mentioned Camby and all that. Like, how have the last 2 weeks been for you, being thrust into this role and preparing for your, to help this defense maintain the standard it's set?
Like I said, Camby prepared me. I give glory to God. He just when times when I was nervous or things felt overwhelming, I just took the time and prayed, and he honestly kept me level-headed, and that's how I was able to fit in and not miss a beat.
And okay. Well, Alec, when you think back to last year against Utah State, I think you finished the night in a hospital.
Yes,
and it was 2 straight losses. Could the contrast be any more different than the feeling tonight?
Yeah, it feels good to get a win. Definitely left some plays out there that we need to clean up, and we gotta come back to practice and prepare for next week.
What does it say about the standard the defense has set that after a game like this you would reflect on some things you guys missed as opposed to the performance you had?
Yeah, it's like I said in past times, we got to keep getting better every game. We got to watch the film. We got to see what went wrong on those couple plays and fix it and keep getting better.
I asked Coach, I'm just curious as a player, how concerned are you guys with some of the penalties that happened down there, especially when you give them another chance to score after it looked like it was over?
Again, it's one of those things we need to clean up. We got to play more disciplined, definitely. We shot ourselves in the foot a couple times, and we got to clean it up.
Was it exciting to play against an offense like that? Coming in, you're probably a little excited knowing they're going to be putting the ball up and trying to run as fast. How did you guys prepare for them, those snaps that happened right away?
Yeah, we practiced tempo all week. Our coaches did a great job of preparing us for that. And it's always exciting to come out and play, no matter what offense you're playing.
And 2 weeks in a row with, I think, 11 tackles. Is it possible for a linebacker to be in a zone, or is that just the product of your position?
It's top down. It starts with the D-line. If they didn't do what they do, then I probably wouldn't have any of the stats that I've had these past couple weeks. And then the safety's protecting us over top, so it's all one big effort.
But how do you fit into that? I think back to the screenplay, you chase them down after 2 yards. Everybody was going after the quarterback. They throw it over the top, and you're able to clean it up. Because you're filling that void, does that allow some of the aggression up front?
For sure. If we all play our assignment football, then it lets us play fast and it lets us get after it.
The way the fullback position handled, the first drive especially, I think you guys had 10 carries, then you finished it off. How important was that in just kind of establishing what you guys wanted to do?
Very important. I think our offense starts with the fullback. First and foremost, our O-line, but it starts with the fullback, just getting them going. Get hard yards and being strong to football. So it's very important to get those guys going.
And for you to have a 3-touchdown night, is the perspective even greater now? Because maybe a month ago you wouldn't have known you were going to even get to play again. But now, not only play, have a night like this against a team that had beaten you guys a few times in a row. What's that like? I'm
just blessed to be in this opportunity. Blessed to have this opportunity. It definitely feels good to just come back and beat these guys because we haven't beat them in the last 2 years. We kind of had a bad taste in our mouth for the last 2 years, so it definitely just feels good to just come back and get our get back.
You mentioned the fullback and how important it is that you guys established that. How much more important was it in this game when you knew that their offense could, put so many plays in so little time?
Yeah, it was invaluable. We definitely wanted to just be able to control the ball. I think we had 35 minutes of holding the ball. Like I said, that's important. If we're on the field and they can't be on the field, I think we're in good shape.
Between you and Owen, who's Brad Roberts? Are we missing him at all?
Brad was actually just texting me after the game. Brad was a phenomenal player, but obviously it's his next guy up, and I think we got two good guys in me and Owen that can just continue to carry the load.
What did Brad have to say?
We'll keep it between me and him.
And to get this snapshot of what this team can be, to go up 39-7 against Utah State, what does this do going forward to know what you guys can do when everything's clicking?
It's definitely a confidence boost. Like you mentioned, Brad's not here, Zeke's not here, and guys got to step up. And those are two big leaders that we had last year. And then just tonight be able to come and open up conference play. I believe we haven't won conference play opener in a while. So it's definitely a big confidence booster heading in to the rest of the teams we got to play here down the stretch.
Zach, your impression of the offense's play tonight, what'd you think?
I mean, it was beautiful. It's how you draw it up. I mean, 22 points in the first quarter. The O-line, they looked fresh the whole game. It was good to be a part of.
I'd have to say you've looked comfortable from game one, but do you feel more comfortable now? I mean, starting under center?
Yeah, credit to Coach Thiessen and all those guys with the game plan this week. I never felt more prepared for a game, and I mean, I hope I look comfortable out there. It's good. We practiced real hard all week, so it was good.
You've seen Zeke play this position for years. Is this how you envisioned it being once the fullback's going and everything else is kind of working and you're up there orchestrating it all? Is that kind of how you saw it playing out?
Yeah, I mean, Zeke told me just do me when I'm out there, and everybody else is going to do them, and we got a lot of good players, and we got a good plan every week, so yeah, it felt good to be out there.
And the question I asked him about kind of seeing what this offense and this team can be now. Have you kind of set a standard now that you guys know you can achieve, and what does that do for a mindset?
Yeah, I mean, the standard's always been there from the jump, and every weekend we're trying to meet it. We have certain metrics that we try to meet, and the biggest metric is a win, and I'm happy that we met that one tonight.
You know, you're a Mountain West champion in a different sport, or a couple times. I'm just curious if there's a difference, how does it feel? You know, you've won, you've stood on a podium, had a medal put around your neck, and now you're playing football and you're 3-0 as a starter. How's it feel? Is it different?
Yeah, football is the greatest game you can play, and anybody who's played it, I think they all say the same thing, and there's a reason why. I mean, people go crazy for football. You can't. A football win is it's unbelievable, and track's a great sport, but winning a conference championship, nowhere near one win in a football game.
And then your speed, 200 meters. I made a joke tonight when you took off. I thought you were going to be gone. I think a lot of people expected you to just outrun everybody. I'm like, hey, no, maybe he's faster in the second 100. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I mean, people want to see it from me, and I mean, I'm just gonna keep rolling, and I'm happy I took care of the ball. So that's what really matters.